I welcome all the masters to Vidyan Wednesday sessions. My heartful pranamas to my Guruji Brahmarshi Patriji. So let us start Vidyan Wednesday. Last week, we have focused on decoding our soul's plan. And to decode our soul's plan, we need not have third eye. Just with knowing certain patterns, observing certain detailed, subtle behaviors of our own personality will reveal what is our soul's plan. Maybe not to the complete extent, but at least to an extent where it is sufficient for one person to move forward and take the decisions in their life. So, last week we have understood how to decode our soul's plan based on the type of our body and our mind. This week we are going to extend the same topic, decode of our soul's plan, but with adding with one more layer, which is through our personality traits and through the natural gifts that we possess. So we all know that as humans, everyone individually they have a different personality trait, and also individually we have some naturally inherited gifts. So we usually think that these natural gifts comes from our parents, but actually in reality these natural gifts comes from our previous incarnations, from our own previous lifetimes. So what we have already practiced a lot many lifetimes ago, that becomes our natural inner gift or natural gift. Similarly, everyone have individual personality traits. So these personality traits and these natural gifts also helps us to find out, to decode our soul's plan. So today's session is entirely about understanding and decoding our own soul's plan according to the gifts, natural gifts that we possess and the personality traits that we have. So when we say personality trait, one thing which comes, or one of the personality traits is what deep pains do we have. When we say personality traits, it's just not about our strengths, but it's also about individually what are the pains that we have. Like, for example, a category of pains that person A will have will be absolutely different than the category of pains that person B will have. So first of all, let us understand what are these pains all about. So, as humans, we all have some or the other kind of pains in our life, right? It could be personal, it could be relationship, it could be financial, it could be some other emotional pains, but pain exists almost in everybody's life, right? So, most of us see this pain as interruption. We think if that pain is not there, my life would have been in a different way. But from soul's perspective, this pain is often a instruction. It is not interruption, it is instruction. What is it instructing? It is instructing where where we need the healing. So sorry. Where the soul needs the healing. Where the soul has to strengthen itself. What the soul, in which area it has to understand, and what part inside you is ready to awaken. That part is mostly shown as pain. To begin this concept, I will tell you a real time story. Okay, real time happening which we now, tell as story. Okay, we all know the character of Karna from Mahabharata. right? A very famous character of Karna. And if you would have heard about Karna, you would also have heard the kind of challenges he has gone through in his life. Right from his birth till his death, he has only gone through challenges, pains, sufferings. And occasionally there have been moments which were of joy, which gave him happiness. So, if you see the life history of Karna from Mahabharata, the person will think nobody should have that kind of, life. On one side, he looks like a spiritual yogi, but on other side, he has, from his birth till his death, he sees a lot of abandonments where, people keep abandoning him right after his birth. His mother abandons. Later, his guru abandons. After a point of time, his friends abandon. And at last, whatever he has, the kundalas that he has, even he has to give it. So all the vidya he has learned, even that leaves him. So if you see, it is a very painful, challenging, suffering story or life that he leads. The experiences which he goes through is mostly challenging. But this is from the mind's perspective. But when you see from the soul's history, I'll tell you exactly where the story has begun. So we all know Lord Shiva. Lord Shiva once married Devi Sati. Both of them got married, but during the marriage, the Sati's parents were against Lord Shiva. But despite of all the challenges, both of them get married. After the marriage, from Sati's family side, a yagna is organized for the benefit of various things. And in that yagna, despite lot of time, Lord Shiva tells Devi Sati not to go, not to attend. She still goes and she attends that yagna. After she goes there, she sees a lot of rejection and hatred against Lord Shiva. Her own family members, maternal family members, insults Lord Shiva. And Devi Sati could not take it, and therefore she, after a lot of happenings, she jumps into the fire. So what happens? Finally, Devi Sati vacates her body. Now, this news goes to Lord Shiva. Although he is a great yogi, but the moment he gets the news of that Devi Sati has vacated the body and what all has happened to her during that yagna, he goes he goes to a very desperate anger. He gets lot of anger. And after few days or few weeks, that anger gets comes into control. He goes into a deep dukkha that Lord, that Devi Sati has vacated the body. So in that attachment, in that moha that she has left him, he goes into a deep grief and he wanders in Himalayas. Days, weeks, months passes by. So at that point of time, because he's a god and he's a great god, correct? We remember Lord Shiva for meditation. We remember Lord Shiva for his third eye. So naturally, because he is a person who has got the greatest energies, out of those emotions, that emotions comes out from him and it takes a form. Okay, and that form goes into a woman who's pregnant at that point of time as a amsatma. So the energy which gets released from him, okay, that energy is nothing but it has a combination. It comes out of dukkha, okay, and also it has great energies of Lord Shiva. That amsatma goes into a woman who's conceiving at that point of time, and a person birth takes place, a new soul arrives onto the earth. That particular person faces a lot of challenges in in his entire life. And every lifetime he takes, he faces lot of challenges. Another lifetime he takes, he faces lot of challenges. Like that, after incarnating for 6 lifetimes, the seventh lifetime, when he takes birth as Karna in Mahabharata, the so-called character. And when you see, he's actually an Amsatma of Lord Shiva. That is why, he has such great heart to give. He has got such great spiritual qualities. He has got such great patience and tolerance. But on the other side, because his energies, that Amsatma, with what energies the Purnatma has created the Amsatma, it is the energies when Lord Shiva was in deep dukkha. The energies which came out at that time has taken form of a soul which was Lord Karna, not Lord Karna, which was Karna. So, because it is Lord Shiva's energies, that's why Karna is a very great master. But because also he was going through a lot of dukkha at that point of time, that got converted into his, which we in layman language we say bad luck, or bad luck is nothing but challenges, correct? So that is a reason why Karna has got 7 lifetimes which were very tough. But at seventh lifetime, if you see, by the end of Mahabharata, what happens? A transformation comes inside Karna because of Lord Krishna. And just before the moment of his death, he gets enlightened. He realizes that I'm on Adharma side and I should have gone to Dharma side, but nevertheless, now I give up. And now I go to Dharma side. And that is the moment of his enlightenment just before his death. So, how did that transformation come? Because Lord Shiva, after wandering in Himalayas for many months and years, then he finally sits into meditation on the guidance of Narada Muni. He sits into meditation, and to come out of all that grief, dukkha, and to get enlightened for Lord Shiva, it takes those many, such a period of time. And that period of time, since it is a Amsatma of Lord Shiva, at the seventh lifetime, he gets enlightened because at that time, Lord Shiva also comes out of that dukkha, out of that suffering, and he attains his enlightenment. So, when Lord Shiva attains his enlightenment meditating in the cave, that is the same time the Amsatma, which is Karna, also gets enlightened here. So, if we see, everything is connected. And when we see from this two eyes, we easily judge others. But when we see the story or the history from the soul's lifetimes, then we understand the complete picture. Now, after knowing this, who will say, oh my God, Karna has gone through so much of challenges? Of course, he will go because his birth has happened from such a reason. And also, you see the beautiful connection between Purnatma and Hamsatma. Once the Purnatma got enlightened in one dimension, the Hamsatma also got enlightened in one dimension. So we are also, you know, multidimensional beings. We live in parallel worlds and perpendicular worlds. When we get enlightened here in one dimension, our other parallel lives, even they get enlightened there. So that's why one small enlightenment in one dimension also heals a lot, because the soul has not taken birth here, it has taken birth in multiple worlds, in higher worlds, in parallel worlds. One change here reflects here and there, parallelly and also perpendicularly. So we must remember the pain that we have. Okay, it is always pointing out to a very, very important soul lesson that we have to understand or we have to go through. It is not something random that you always get a pain and you ignore it. But rather than ignoring it, you have to deeply look into it. One kind of pain is rejection. Few people are very much afraid of rejection. Even before they get into something, they will imagine in their mind that okay, if I go there and they'll say something, I'll get rejected. No, I can't take it. And the rejections can be in relationship, it can be could be in the workplace, it could be the feeling of being unseen wherever they go, or the feeling of being ignored, or the feeling of not being valued. If you see today, there are so many influencers. Every second person is an influencer, correct? Why does that influencership has got so much of craze today? Because so many people have felt that, it's a unified thought field where so many people have felt we are not valued, we are not given enough, we are not enough seen, we are not enough. So all that energies now has reversed, and that's why today in market everybody is an influencer. So everything is correlated. Nothing happens over a period of, overnight, but everything happens with unified energies and unified thought fields. Lot of people's pain that they are unseen, today has given rise to a new era of influencers. So whenever you feel rejected, okay, understand your soul is pointing out to something very valuable. And the valuable lesson that you have to learn here is self-worth. Let anyone reject, but when you have that acceptance of yourself, when you have self respect, when you have that self love, when you have that inner validation, when you have that emotional independence, naturally things around you will change. If you feel that, you go to a business place or workplace but you're not recognized, the problem is not in others, because just a person who's next to you is getting well recognized, but you're not getting recognized, then it is not a problem with others, but it is something with us. And when we look into ourselves, when we accept ourselves, when we validate ourselves, then that change will come outside. So if you have that feeling of rejection always, if you have that pain point, please do not ignore it, but understand through this pain, my soul is pointing out towards a very important soul lesson that I have come here to learn. Another pain, another pain point is abandonment. Abandonment means being left off, being left alone. Could be emotional distancing, could be separation, could be loneliness. Even small changes in relationships will create a lot of anxiety for the people who have this fear of abandonment. And especially women go a lot through this. They always have a deep fear inside them. What if tomorrow he will leave? What if tomorrow children will leave? What if tomorrow this network will leave? Okay, but if you have got this feeling of abandonment, be a woman or a woman, but if you have this feeling of abandonment, then your soul is very much pointing out towards a lesson which is called as self connection, learning to feel safe within oneself. Recently, I met a very beautiful woman. Okay, when I was listening through her journey and uh, what she was narrating all her life's history, I felt wow. Despite of all the challenges she had, despite of all the abandonments or she has faced where people left her, where things did not work in her favor. Yet, she was very strong. She was very peaceful. She was okay. And despite everything was happening, she said, whenever I sit in meditation, I go very deep. Wow, what a state. Even when a small things happen in our life, it directly impacts our meditation, isn't it? Something happens in our life. If suppose today's day was really hectic, bad, or something really big happened, big in a way which we did not expect. And when we sit in meditation, we'll get so much of emotion, so much of thoughts. But that woman really inspired me when she was telling her lesson, all her experiences. I was wondering, how is she managing? Then I suddenly told myself, no, we are souls, and souls can have, all the multiple lessons that the soul has planned for. And that is her beauty, that is her inner strength. So, did you see how beautifully that woman is not, she did not fall into the trap of loneliness, but She's always, she has taken it, she has converted more it into her advantage. So if you have, being humans also, this could be a very natural thought where you might think, what if tomorrow they die? What if tomorrow, they leave us? What if tomorrow they go abroad? I'll fall, I'll be alone. And this is a thing which everyone have in their mind. What if when the old age happens, you know, how will I spend my life? That means you have really not connected to your inner self. Once you connect to your inner self, these all fears which is there in the mind will vanish. So whenever you have fear, okay, address it and also take it as a great opportunity to travel within. All right. Another pain that generally people go through is the pain of betrayal. Betrayal could happen with friendship. Betrayal can happen mostly during wherever there are financial commitments involved. Betrayal these days are a lot happening in relationships. Okay, so betrayal is where you have a emotional pain because your trust got broken. But remember, betrayal awakens your awareness. It awakens your emotional intelligence. It makes you set clear boundaries. It will make your understanding of people better. And if a betrayal has happened, when you go through the life pattern or through that experience, when you recap it, you will see that before the betrayal you would have got some signs as intuition, but you would have ignored it. So here, if you have gone through betrayal, that means your soul is clearly teaching you, don't blind trust. Don't abandon your intuition, and don't lose yourself emotionally. If you're finding some red flags, okay, then some situation is coming, you're seeing some red flags, then consider those red flags. Don't ignore it. If you ignore it, then something will happen, you'll get betrayed, and then you'll say, playing a sympathy card will not work. I'll tell you one simple thing. Very recently, I was so much happy to go to, one of one of the gatherings or events which was happening in Bangalore. I was so excited, happy to go there that, from previous night, I was thinking, okay, tomorrow I'll go there. Next day morning, I woke up, I got ready, did all arrangements. The moment I started my vehicle, the moment just inserted the key, I got the intuition, no, don't go. And then I was like, what? Don't go? But what did I do? Did I go? No, I did not. Immediately, I just stopped. I went back. Let me do any amount of preparation before it. Who was excited? Not the soul. The soul is never excited. The mind was excited. And in that excitement, I have ignored a lot of red flags, which was even given before it. The moment I was getting ready for that event, there was a kind of, stomach upset. There was kind of cold feet. There was a kind of shivering which was happening in my body, and I was ignoring all those signs because I was overexcited to go somewhere else. But the moment I heard the inner voice, I said, okay, I'm not going there. Now I will not analyze why. Okay. If I would have gone there, I would have faced lot of things. Always it's not physical. It could be lot other things. Sometimes where you should, you're not supposed to go to a place, but still if you go, physically you might not see any challenge, but maybe when you go there, the fire inside you will get reduced. And again, it takes time for you to bring that fire back. Now, fire forward, fire to execute works. Everything needs energy. Let me put it in this way, instead of fire, the energy. So, you should be very calculative. Where are you spending that energy? With whom are you spending that energy? I'll give you another example. I saw in last 1 year, When I was speaking to one person, every time I used to speak to that person, it could be for 20 minutes, 15 minutes, 5 minutes, 2 minutes, doesn't matter. Just a one phone call. And after that, my emotions would get drained. And it would take a long period of time for me. Long period of time isn't as in few hours for me to come back to my naturally joyful energies. And last time when I spoke, immediately I got it. Why the energies are getting drained. That means, you know, maybe you're not able to see what is exactly lying there. Maybe the intentions are different. There only when the energies are absolutely misaligning, the energies drain. If I'm talking to someone, the channel is flowing, or even if there is no guidance or there's nothing, but if there's a beautiful friendship, your energies will remain constant. If the energy, if you feel motivated or charged, your energies will lift. But if your energies have drained after going to a place or meeting a person, that means there's absolute misalignment. Then I just saw, okay, I have to be very careful going forward with whom I'm speaking, to where I'm going. My time should go to others' spiritual upliftment. And in order to even give that guidance or energy, you need to have it. If I'm drained, I cannot give it to others. Half of my time should not go in the recovery mode. So that gave me a beautiful realization of where should I focus and where I should not focus. Another pain which often women go through is loneliness. As I said, abandonment, loneliness, it all shows that there is no self connection. So, self connection is very, very important. And another pain area is control issues. If you are a person who cannot let go controlling others, or you are organizing something, or it could be an event, okay, it could be a small birthday party in your home to a big event or anything. If you have the issues where you feel everything should be controlled, or other signs of control are you want to plan things and you want everything to go according to the plan, okay, or you are that person in your home who plans the finances, who plans the relationships, who plans the career, who plans the family decisions. Okay, planning is not wrong, but anything, even point not 1% deviation from that plan, when it happens and if you are suffering, you're not able to take it, you become unstable, then that is the issue. And if you have those control issues, if you are a control freak person, and if when things goes out of your hands, you get fear or you get anxiety, or if you are in pain, that means you have trust issues. Only a person who has trust issues wants to control everything. So, if you are in the pain of controlling things, controlling people, controlling situations, controlling outcomes, then your soul is clearly indicating you that please learn to let go. If you don't do it now, you will do it in another lifetime. It is better that we learn it right away. So, all these things seem to be very, small, but all these things have got very big meanings. So, pain, what does pain creates? Pain creates depth inside us. People who have gone through pain very deeply, they often develop, what? Compassion. They develop a lot of maturity. They have lot of emotional intelligence. They have got lot of wisdom. They have got lot of sensitivity. They have got lot of spiritual depth. Recently, just few days ago, I was counseling a woman. She lost everything in her life, her parents, her husband, her children, and situations have turned out in a way that she's forced to step into spirituality because she was finding the answers. So only when she went through a lot of pain, she was telling, I was not like this 20 years ago or 15 years ago. I was totally a different person. But as Things went on from my hand, as people went on from my hand, as finances went on from my hand. Every going, I could not control it. And every, you know, on every leaving, on every let go, something inside me is changing. And today I'm so humbled, not willingly, but forcefully. So, as I said, because those situations and has happened, she has not become like that. In order for her to become like that, in order for her to leave all the non-required things and to develop, to come into spirituality, you know, the soul has meticulously planned for all those situations. So, even in our life, when we go through certain situations, a lot of changes happens in us. In 2017, I met with an accident, small accident. Then my leg got fractured. Then I went through a surgery. Then almost, I think, 1.5 to 2 months, I was on bed rest. And in that 2 months after my surgery, I went through a lot of pain. Lot of pain, as if, you know, I was witnessing karma in front of me. But I was very happy. Happy, not, smiling and joyfully talking. Of course, there was a lot of pain, but I was very accepting of every fact that, okay, I'm feeling like this. There is a pain in the body, there is a kind of uneasiness in the body. Okay, the karma is, it's getting over with this. It's getting over with this moment. It is getting over with this day. A new me will take birth after this phase. So, very willingly, acceptingly, I went through that phase. I did not create additional trouble for me. I did not suffer. Suffering was there in the physical level, but suffering was not there in the mental level. That is the beauty of a master, where you're just witnessing suffering and you're not a part of it. So, that after that pain, after that, going through that pain, after going through that phase, huge transition happened in me. All the spiritual concepts, which were only concepts before, and I used to think this concept is there, but when implementation comes, why it is missing. For example, there is a very important statement which says, forgive others for your own peace. So many people say, I know the statement, forgive others, but when a situation comes, I'm not able to forgive others. It's not happening. I'm not able to do. But the same person, when they go through, when the life takes you to left and right roller coaster ride, and after that ride, when any situation happens, very easily you forgive other person and as well as you. So if you're reading a concept but you're not able to implement it, okay, then you're lacking experiences. So what you should request universe is, I know this concept but I want enough experiences to understand it. For example, you're a soul. If I say you are a soul, you'll say yes, I am a soul. But does that realization comes from deep within, that I am a soul every given moment? If it comes to you, then you are a realized soul. Nothing can touch you on this earth. Okay. But if you're not realized and it is still a concept, first of all, how do you know? How do you know whether you're realized or not? When any situation happens, when any pain happens, when anything happens in your life, if you're witnessing it and it is not touching you, then you're a soul. Why am I able to give guidance to so many women? They come and they share their pain and they request for guidance. Whenever they tell their pain, I will never say, oh, is it? That feeling doesn't come from within. Very easily, I'm able to witness, okay, this has happened. Okay, this is their soul plan. Yes, this karma they have done. That's why this has happened. When they do this, this will go. The past is seen, the present is witnessed, and the future guidance is given. If I'm attached, oh my God, does this happen? That channel will not come, because I am free of all that drama. In my book, why women prefer to suffer, in that book, there is one chapter which says role versus soul. That is one of my favorite chapters, where I've given the example very beautifully. As a woman, we play multiple roles in our family, in the society, in the community. Okay. So when we forget that we are playing a role, as William Shakespeare said, all the world is a stage. We are mere actors. We struck in fume, do our part, and depart. So the entire world is a stage, and we all are just actors. But when we forget that we are actors and we take our roles of being a daughter, being a wife, being a mother, being a grandmother, being a mother in law, being a sister in law very seriously, what happens? That is when all the problems arises. But when you witness as a soul, I am a soul in a role, you don't be a victim, you just be a beautiful witness. Anything happens also, yeah, in this role, these issues will be there. For example, our PM Narendra Modi ji, he's playing a role of a prime minister. When he steps into that role, he will have some benefits, some challenges, a lot of responsibilities. He will do everything. After his period is over, when he steps out, it is a role, correct? Later, when he'll step into different role, these things, these benefits, these challenges, these experiences will not be there. So when we are in a role, we have to realize, we have to remember, okay, I am a soul in a role. These roles calls for these benefits, these challenges. When you are realized about this fact every given moment, there will not be any kind of drama in your life. I am a person who is a least or no drama person. You will not see any kind of drama in my life. If drama is there, it is because of others, not because of me. I just enjoy the drama. That's it. Because deep within every moment, I'm realized that I'm a soul. And how did this happen? Before it was a concept. Then I had enough number of experiences. That experiences gave me the realization that I'm a soul. So any pain in your life gives you a clear pointed direction of what is your soul's lesson. Once you realize it, once you know it, you work on it and the lesson is over. Not recently, a month back, I counseled a woman. Okay. She told me three, three back-to-back scenarios in her life where she got betrayed. One betrayal, she went through, it's over. Then she said, okay, never it'll happen. Immediately another betrayal happened. Then she went through, third betrayal happened. Then she said, what is this karma? It's, yes, of course it's a karma, but it's also, karma is nothing but your soul's plan. Your soul is back and back. It's telling you to learn, you know, here she has to learn the self control, the self trust, not over control. Okay. You have to, betrayal is a sign of no trust. Not no trust. Don't trust others. Trust yourself. So betrayal always awakens your awareness. So if any lesson is repeatedly happening, that means you're repeatedly failing in knowing it. If you don't correct it, it will keep continuing. So, as in one of the very earlier sessions, I told, every stage of our life, every 7 years of our life, we have different learnings to learn. We have to undergo different transformations through different experiences. But when a certain lesson is not learned, the same lesson will be repeated in your next set of 7 years also. So, we should always carefully observe what are the pains in our life. And just as pains reveals our, soul lessons, our natural gifts that we have also points out towards our soul's energy. Like few examples of what we naturally possess. We all know what are our natural gifts, right? Like few people, they have a potential or tendency to calm others. Few people naturally have the potential to motivate others. Few people naturally protect others. Few people naturally, in their presence, emotionally people heal. Few people, when they stand, others get uplifted just with the mere presence. We tell some of our friends or family members, oh, you have come, it's enough. Maybe he or she is the most silent person you would have ever seen, but their presence matters a lot because naturally they possess some gifts. Some people have, naturally they make people laugh and feel lighter. So these gifts are often the clues of your soul's nature. Wherever I go, to whichever group, to whichever people, to whichever individual I meet, after that time is over, often people tell me that, you came, you left, now things are again changed. So in my energy, people feel highly motivated, they feel highly empowered, they feel that, their life is very purposeful, because I'm always focused on those energies. So whenever people are with me, they are naturally, their attention goes towards purpose of life. They feel lighter. So all these things, it tells your natural gifts. For example, from my childhood, I've always seen, I was always uplifting others, I was always empowering others, I was always motivating others. I used to think, what motivation, speech am I giving? Now, though, there's meditation, there's a lot of experiences, there's a lot of things. At that time, even when meditation was also not there in my life, I'm talking about that time, anyone used to be upset, anything, I used to go, I used to motivate them as if I really know what they have to do next. I used to guide them. Afterwards, I used to think, what did I just do? What did I talk to them? But when I see my life now, from that point of time till now, even though I was aware, I was not aware, I was unconscious, now conscious, but always I was in the path of guiding others. So those things naturally come. So you have to observe what things you naturally have. For example, when people, if you're a person in whose energies, you make a lot of difference by bringing peace, then others will feel very safe around you. They feel emotionally relaxed, or they feel heard, they feel emotionally they are held. Okay, so suppose you, as I told, if you have naturally a gift of motivating others, so what happens, people who are around you, they feel inspired, they feel they're always in momentum, they feel they're always, they have huge capability, huge potential for growth, they have huge confidence in them. So what are your natural gifts? Just check with others, or just ask others, how do you feel around me? And then you will know what are your energies. Even if you observe it, you will get to know, but otherwise, even if you ask others, they'll tell you. If suppose you're a person who guide others, then people who are around you, they will always have the right advices, they always will feel, there's a mentor with me. Okay, then they will feel that, we have some patterns, and those patterns are always addressed, or I'm always led into clarity from confusion. So all these things gets naturally revealed to you. Suppose if you are protector by, your nature, so then, your the people who are around you, it could be your family, children, or anyone who's, who has huge area of improvisation to grow. Everyone, they will be naturally drawn to you, they will feel like, you are their umbrella. So these all are called as the archetypes of souls. A soul can, if you, that means how we have personality traits, similarly the soul has got soul traits. And the soul traits have certain categories. Like, you could be an archetype of the soul who is um, a healer, or archetype of a soul who is a king. Okay, archetype of a soul who is a musician. So there are lot of archetypes of soul, not lot, there are 6 7 categories. So this I will take another session, so that we can figure out what is, everyone can figure out under what archetype of soul do you fall into. Another, very recent counseling which took place, in that person was telling me that, always my entire life I've been taking responsibilities. It's always like I'm overloaded with responsibilities right from my childhood, even now and even later. So when that person's, past life, when I've seen, right, not from just from the previous lifetime, but from previous lifetimes, that person was always, she was in a role of giving, and just not giving. In multiple lifetimes, she has been a king. In certain lifetimes, she was a prince. In some lifetimes, she was a queen. So when you are in those kind of roles, you tend to take responsibilities, right? We think that because I'm in this role, I'm taking responsibility. No, because our archetype of soul is the type of a king. So therefore, these people always choose the roles where they're always taking responsibility of others, where they're just not taking care of few people, but a huge community or a group. So it naturally comes to them. So it's all a very big chapter, great, multiple dimensions. It's not just something which can be decoded in one session. So this is all about today's session, our personality traits and our natural gifts, which tells us what we have got and what we can do with this. Okay. So identify your natural gifts. It could be singing, it could be painting, it could be performing any art form. We all know what gifts that we naturally possess, right? So whatever gift you naturally possess, utilize it for the completion of your purpose of life. So whatever naturally gift I possess, I have always ensured that I have converted it for the completion of my purpose of life. I've always added it. So you also see what are your natural gifts that you have. Also, after this session, don't go back to work. Otherwise, it will be just like another motivational session that you're hearing. But after the session, just sit aside for 10 minutes, because already you have dwelled into that subject a lot. Just identify what are your pains that you have in your life. Could be rejection, could be abandonment, could be betrayal, could be feeling lonely. Write it down. Once things comes into awareness, that time itself 90% of things are resolved. And knowing our soul's patterns is the most interesting thing. You know, people ask me, you do so many counselings in a day, you meet so many people, you go out, teach meditation to others. Don't you get tired or drained? Absolutely no, because I really like to know other stories. I like to know. They only tell the story which they know, but I see the story of their soul's pattern, their past lives. What is what is pulling them? Why they are like this? What is their future? It is very interesting permutations and combinations. So just before closing, I would tell you one thing. When I was speaking to one woman, she was asking me about one person, about relationship things and all. So when she was telling, I just saw a person, a male figure, and then the past connections and everything. Then I just asked her, please send me the photo of the other person. When she sent me the photo, it was exactly matching my vision. So then it is a very clear cut, guidance that I could give, that what has to happen there. So even the images which you would have never thought of, that also comes. So these all are very interesting patterns. And it is, there was a time when I was only interested in myself, my past, my future. But that phase is gone. How much will you self study yourself? It's always good to know different number of patterns. So always I love doing it. So that's all for this session. So after successful completion of Coimbatore Buddha Purnima, Vidyan is next organizing International Yoga Day in Vizag, Andhra Pradesh. So a very massive gathering is going to happen there. Already close to 25-30 sessions in Vizag have got scheduled. I'm going to stay there for almost 7 to 8 days, and back to back, so many sessions are planned. And after that, on 21st June, we will be celebrating with International Yoga Day with meditation group, and live music meditation. So I invite all of you to please join International Yoga Day meditation celebrations at Vizag, Andhra Pradesh. And after that, in July, we are going to have Leh Ladakh trip, one of the trip of its kind. And I would say only one thing. If you are destined, you will definitely make it, because we don't plan to go to Himalayas. Himalayas always call us. It is not always from this side, but it is always from the other side. So only the people who are eligible and the people who are destined will make to the trip. And if you feel a huge calling towards it, then make your first step and then see what universe opens for you. Meditating in Himalayas is something, the biggest gift that we can give to ourselves. And I have traveled almost entire India, leaving the northeast part, almost almost every state and lot of cities I've traveled. And I've sensed, I've seen, the places, the culture, its energies. But the energies which is there in Himalayas can be never matched with anything else. And meditating there is the biggest soul's gift that we can give to our own selves. There's nothing greater than that. And I have not experienced, you know, any meditation like what I've experienced in Himalayas. So please definitely plan for it. And this time, even surprisingly for me, we have opened this trip for everybody. So families, men, women, lot of people are joining. So a lot of solo women are coming, a lot of solo men are coming, a lot of family members have enrolled. So please be a part. Utilize this opportunity for your soul's growth. And after that, if at all you are a person, who are right now struck in your life, for could be for anything, then I would highly recommend utilize the opportunities which are right now there. And you can book for a slot for Akashic reading recording and get a clarity for yourself, and then just see how your life transforms after that. Okay, so these all are the things which are available. Whatever you are called for, take it, do it. And every day please meditate, and ensure every day you're teaching meditation to others, because there's nothing more than teaching meditation to others. There's nothing more we can give to ourselves. There is nothing more that we can give to others or to Mother Earth. All right, masters, thank you very much. Right now, I would like to end the session, and next week again we would catch up. Whatever happens, however busy the schedules are, Vidyan Wednesday will not stop, and every week we will keep gathering. So please make lot of people join this session, lot of women join this session, so that they undergo huge, humongous transformations. Thank you very much, masters. We'll again connect next Wednesday. All of you have a great night, great weekend. Bye bye.